Welcome to week 2 of personal mastery, and in this week we're going to cover communication skills. Now, communication skills is a very vast subject, and I'll be putting up many specialized courses. The basics of communication remain the same, and sometimes people miss out on these founding basic principles, and no matter how much they try to further themselves, they can't get anywhere. So they're good at what they speak, they have great articulation, but you know what? They just miss to make the point. So let me take you to the core basic of communication skills. First point, the first most important point is the willingness to communicate. And willingness is going to be the key word throughout my session today. See, for communication, you need two terminals. You need two people. Even if you say, I am talking to myself, you have actually separated you from you, that you have two terminals. But let's not go in that direction right now. I will come up to what is your conversation and communication with yourself. But right now, let's separate the two terminals. Let's say you are talking to someone else. Okay, let's say I am talking to you. So now the two principles in action are cause and effect, which means I have to be willing to start a communication with you to be cause, and you have to be willing to be at the effect, sitting and listening, and even accepting a communication from me. So you are not starting it, you are not the cause, you are the effect, and I am the cause of the communication. For this to happen seamlessly, both of us have to be willing. Second is intention. I have to have the willingness that I intend to communicate. What do I want to communicate? Whatever I'm saying is intention driven, and that comes from a willingness. Yes, I have something to say, I have something to give, I have something to share. And on your side is the willingness to pay attention. Imagine if my intention is to share something, but you're not listening, you're not paying attention. It's a futile communication. It's not even completed the loop. It's not even communication. It is miscommunication, or it is all going into oblivion. Willingness on both sides. I have intention to give you something and you're paying attention to receive it. Now that completes a communication cycle. Number 3, I have to be duplicable. Duplicable means that you should understand me. I should communicate in a manner that you get it. I'm literally speaking a language that you understand, giving examples that you get. Being relatable is duplicable. And you, on the other side, have to be willing to make an attempt to understand what I'm saying. When she says, I have a dog, which means she has a dog, not I hate dogs. All right, which means I'm saying I have a dog and you're duplicating dogs are mean animals. I don't like dogs. I got bitten by a dog. You understand what I'm saying, right? So I speak in a manner that I'm duplicable and you understand exactly what I'm saying. So let me summarize. There are two people here who want to get in communication. Willingness on both parts is absolutely crucial. So this person has to be willing to be cause, which means willing to communicate. And the person here has to be willing to be effect, to listen, to even be there. This person needs to be willing to have an intention. Otherwise, it's just faff. Why are you communicating? I am communicating because I want to share this. I want to say this. I want to express this. I want the other person to know this. The person has an intention. And the guy here is willing to give him the attention and listen to him. And lastly, the person communicates in a manner that he is understood, that he is relatable, that he's able to make a point in a manner that he can duplicate. The person on the other side can understand exactly what the guy is saying. And when the willingness on both parts is on all three fronts, that's when communication happens beautifully. Now, what we're going to do in this part today is to make you good on both sides. When you are communicating, when you are cause, when you have an intention and you are willing to be duplicable, and when you are at effect, when you need to pay attention, and when you need to make the effort to duplicate what the other person is saying. Now, let me give you an example of being willing to be cause, willing to have an intention, and willing to be duplicable. Now, let's say I'm a motivational speaker. Now, when I go and speak to people, I have to be willing to go and talk to because that I'm going to be the conversation starter and my audience are going to be effect. I need to have a clear cut intention. What am I going to speak and why am I going to speak in the first place? What is the impact? What is the effect that I'm going to create? So I have to be cause willing to take the stand, willing to take the stage, willing to take the lead. Number two, I need to be willing to have a clear cut intention and purpose about what my communication is going to be about. And number three is willingness to be duplicable. So I have to speak in a manner that my audience understands what I'm saying and there is no misunderstanding. And for that, I need to know my audience well. I need to know their position. I need to know their ethnic background. I need to know their culture, their values, their vision, their position. I basically need to know who I am talking to be duplicable. For all you know, I'm talking to a bunch of students and I'm giving examples from the corporate workplace, or I'm talking to the CEOs and I'm giving an example of teenage conflicts and relationships. It's not going to work. You get it? The willingness has to be from my side to prepare, to communicate. And when I do that, my communication is not just outstanding, it is effective. It makes the mark, it gets the message delivered, and people say, I understand, I get it. And can you come one more time and speak to our team again? Now, let me give you the second example. Willingness to be effect, willingness to pay attention, and willingness to duplicate. So let's say my mother takes the position of cause and she's upset with me. Okay, and she goes on to say, Priya, you never do this, blah, 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 and so on. Now, she's taken the lead. Now, what must my role be on the other side of cause? Is to be effect, which means she started the rant, she has started the complaint. What must I do? Accept my role as effect. Okay, what are you saying? Just like you're listening to me right now, isn't it? You've made a decision to be effect, right? You're not talking back to me. And even if you talk back to me, you really can't. It's not going to make any difference. It's going to be insane communication, right? So cause and effect, same way when my mother is talking, what shall I do? Listen, okay, I am effect at the moment. What are you saying? Second, while she has an intention, oh, you don't do this, she wants to make a point. What must I do? Pay attention. Oh, really? What is she trying to say? That is what she's saying. All right. And not that my mind drift away and she says, hey, you're not even listening to me, huh? Now you always do that. You see where the communication is going to go. And lastly, when she is trying to be duplicable and say that I tell you to do this, that I call you, you don't answer the phone, you don't respond to WhatsApp messages. Now, if I'm not willing to duplicate what she's saying, by duplicate, I mean when she says dog, I imagine a dog. I understand it's a dog, not a cat. So when she's saying, oh, you don't answer my calls, you don't respond to my WhatsApp messages, I'm not thinking, hey, you don't understand how busy I am. How do you understand my life? Do you know what it takes to run an organization? Do you know you know what I'm talking about, right? All I duplicate is she's saying, you don't answer my calls and you don't respond to my messages. And I say, Mom, I'm sorry. I will try not to do that again. That's all I am duplicating in that moment and not cooking things up in my head, which will not make sense to the conversation any which ways. Now, let's bring you back into the cause and let's say you're doing a very bad job at it. Now, I gave you two ideal scenes. When you're cause, you have the intention and you're willing to be duplicable. Then you're at effect, you're willing to pay attention and you're willing to duplicate. Now, what if all goes wrong here? Let's say you're asked to call an important client and to pitch a deal and to close it. Okay. And now you're thinking, oh, I don't want to call. I don't think so. You're not even willing to pick up the phone and speak. All right. Which means you're not willing to be cause. Not willing to be cause means you're not willing to have the intention. You don't think you're good enough or whatever it is that is working in your head. And lastly, you're going to falter at being duplicable. All three are interconnected. And let's say you're forced to make that phone call. That communication is not going to be effective. You have to be in a position where you say, yes, I'll make that phone call. Why? Because you're prepared with the intention. Why? Because you're prepared with how to be duplicable and how to talk to that person. Get it? All three are interrelated. In fact, one builds on the other. All right. So when somebody says that, look, I don't think I can call, or they're just weaseling out of the communication, see where the error is. Or when you are doing that, oh no, I don't think I want to speak to that person. I don't think I can do this. Or you're feeling a hesitation within, that you're hoping the person will not answer the call, or you're hoping that, that meeting will get cancelled. Verify, introspect. Where is it? Why are you not willing to be caused? Is it because your intention is not powerful enough? Intention meaning preparation, purpose, vision, and your knowledge base? Or is it that you don't know how to be relatable to that person? And in that case, you might have to do some more research about who the person is on the other side of effect. Now, let's say you're on the effect side and doing a very bad job. Okay, so let's say, for example, your girlfriend is very, very upset with you. So she comes to you with a rant and you're not willing to be effect. You just hang up the phone, which means you're not even willing to be there while she's talking. That happens, right? And then there are people who say, like, okay, go on. They're not paying attention. Okay, they close their eyes, they meditate, or they pretend to listen and they're not even listening, and so on. Or even if they're doing that, they do the third worst thing is not duplicate. So while she's complaining about you don't pay attention to me, you don't get me flowers, and so on, and you're thinking, oh my God, this woman is just like so and so, and I made a mistake, and so on, and you're duplicating something else, you're cooking something else in your mind, and you are failing at being superb in communication by being on the effect side. So you can see the ideal scene and you can see the scene that will get you down. Now you have to be a master of both. All right. Now, next time you talk to someone, see, it's very, very clear in this moment, the communication cycle happening between you and me, cause and effect, intention, attention, duplicable, duplicate. And that's how this workshop has worked for you, that you have come so far and you have participated in it. You have been a great effect. I have been a great cause. Now, apply this into the next communication cycle that you have. If you're listening to your boss, be prepared to effect. I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to pay attention and I'm going to understand exactly what he's saying. Then when you talk to somebody, a client, I am cause, what's my intention and how do I become more duplicable? And when you fault and you don't feel good about a communication, look, where did the error come? First, identify which side were you on. Were you the one who started the conversation, asked for the meeting, and asked for the phone call? Were you on the cause side? If yes, then where did you go wrong? Or were you on the effect side, that you were not paying attention or you were finding it hard to understand the person? See, it is your responsibility, whether you're on cause or effect, to make the conversation go seamless. Now, you, my friend, have to master both sides of communication. Let's not get into how do you get the other person to pay attention. Let's not get into how do you make sure that the person understands you, duplicates you. Let's first see, can you do magical stuff on both sides? That when you start the communication, can you maintain these three? And when you're on the listening end, can you do all of these three? In understanding both the sides, you will be able to influence both the sides. To be able to influence, you first have to understand the person you want to influence. And what better way to be in their shoes, to do what you expect them to do? How will you teach them? How will you show them? How will you course correct when you've not been there? So I want you to be conscious and I want you to be mindful of your communication happening in the day. Decode it. And at the end of the day, in the playbook, write how you did on the cause side and how you did on the effect side. And tomorrow, let's get into how you can influence the person with your communication on the effect side. Until then, prepare, because you cannot influence that which you cannot understand. So good, get working, and I will see you tomorrow.